Robert Heffernan with EndoTech, exclusively for the Pareto Network and EndoTech subscribers. This is Blockchain Vitals. It's our daily show talking cryptocurrencies, blockchain assets, and we have finally moved out of the congestion. And if you're a holder, you better put your head deep in the sand because who knows where this thing shakes out to. Let's do the rounds and talk about some crypto-centric things. A couple of things I want to talk about. You know, I never read it, but, I was reading today how JPMorgan, fully involved in the blockchain, right? Their own network for trading, fully involved with the Ethereum community, the Ethereum developer community. Obviously, Jamie Dimon, and I never saw this before today, said he regretted saying that Bitcoin was a fraud in 2017. He regretted it. Well, congratulations for making that clear, that you regretted, telling everybody that the greatest technology in a generation was a fraud, while in the behind the scenes, your firm was fervently working at blockchain technology. Well done. Well played. The other thing I wanted to talk about, the crypto sphere getting interesting now as Ripple has poached top developer from Google. I don't know if this was amenable or if they just I can't imagine that you can offer more money than Google can offer. But anyway, they took a top developer from Google in order to help flush out RippleNet, their cross-border payment protocol. So the fiat world is not walking away quietly, for sure, with JPMorgan fully involved. And then the crypto world, back to the fiat world, I'm sorry, the fiat world, Ripple, pretty much a legacy institution add-on into the crypto sphere. So they're not giving up the ship by any means. But then the other news out that Zcash has new technology coming out, making it way more faster, cheaper. This is going to be the thing, faster and cheaper, right? Always going down this road, faster and cheaper, ability to do more. And the one that really caught me today was, I'm reading off of my Twitter handle here, is a tweet from IOTA News. And that IOTA devices are expected to reach 50 billion by 2020. 50 billion devices with IOTA. And with an estimated of 50 trillion interactions per day. Those are just 50 trillion interactions per day. But listen, I can't even count, so those numbers are mind-boggling. The amount of devices that they figure the protocol will be on, and the number of interactions that it'll be able to do in a day. It's almost incomprehensible. And only by 2020, we're talking 2 years. So what is that going to do to the fabric of society? What problems is this going to solve? It's exciting to watch and to see. Anyway. We're going to go right into the vitals because we are not streaming to YouTube right now because we've got a little malfunction going on in the streaming side of things. Streaming to EndoTech.io, so thank you for watching. And let's get right to the vitals because the market in crypto's not looking particularly groovy. But there's a couple of things I want to point out on price action as you move out, especially of a congestion area. Very, very often, it doesn't matter on the time frame, as I think time frames are fractals, and you see the same setups, over time frames. They repeat. The same setup looks the same on an hourly as it does a 10-minute. By that matter, as it does on a daily, a weekly, and a monthly. So you see the same type of pattern showing up, depending on the fractal. And sometimes when you move out of a congestion area, the first direction that you move in is actually a false direction. We call it a head fake. But I'll tell you what it is in a head fake. It's never a head fake if it's 2 or 3, depending on the time frames. So 2 or 3 days in a row in the direction, or brackets, whatever you're looking at. So for me, I am flat. I got out today on the weakness of everything that I had. I'm in dollar. I'm not in the tether, although the tether looks fine to me now. 98.60 last, so close to par. Nobody really, there's no seeming weakness there. It's been pretty steady from the fallout that it had a couple weeks ago on the bounce back, and it's just held there. But for me now, the momentum's key right here. So right now, Bitcoin trading, let's just talk a little action here. Bitcoin trading on Bitfinex, 63.57. So it's below the value range. That value range 63.90 to 64.96. Finally, more than like a $10 value range. So we're starting out the day. Good morning in Asia, by the way. We're starting out the day week below the value range, right? And solidly in lower momentum at 65.05. You'll notice that the 63.90 level. So the 64.96, the higher value. I could actually see this thing grab some strength here, maybe get into that value range, 63.90 above there, trade to the higher value, because that higher value is lining up very close with the lower momentum level at 65.05. And for me, that's kind of where the rubber meets the road. And we should hold that level if you're short these things, and we should make a leg lower. And not only that, if this thing is going to really develop into a sizable bear move, we should take out today's lows or yesterday's lows. This gets confusing. I've said this to you before. It's today in Asia. It's yesterday in Asia, right? It's yesterday in Asia. And when it's today, you got to take out yesterday's lows for that trend to be intact. Trending things make lower on the downside. They make lower lows and lower highs. On the upside, they make higher highs and higher lows. That's pretty much the definition of a trend. So 2 things. The trend is your friend. Do not fight the momentum. But if this thing is truly going to be a bear run here and not a head fake, we should really hold this momentum level in Bitcoin today. Right, so 65.05 we shouldn't really get above there, and certainly shouldn't settle back above there. If we do, maybe today's action's the head fake, and we move higher. I was talking at length today with my brother about this whole thing and how people want to, like, if they're fundamentally is they really want to be involved, right? And so they want to buy the break, and here's a break that you might want to buy, right? It's lower, and you want to jump in. It's 4% lower. Listen, man, and here's where this is truly how I believe in this thing. If we're going to have an explosive rally, if you have to miss $400, $600, $800 on this price movement, because if it's going from 6,000-ish to 20,000 plus, does it really matter that you get in at 6,200 or 6,500 or 6,700 if you're waiting for the weekly momentum level? Is that $500 going to be the end of it? But I'm telling you right now, it's going to be a huge difference between entering at wherever that momentum ends up being, because now the potential is much lower. It's 5,900 minimum on the weekly, right? And when you go out to the monthly, you got room back down to $1,400 per Bitcoin. If we close this in monthly lower momentum, which is going to come in somewhere between $64 and $6,500. All I'm saying is there's nothing wrong with being patient and waiting for the formation to evolve into a strong formation to join, rather than trying to catch the falling knife, which is, if you're buying this thing on this dip, for me, that's basically what you're doing, right? All right, so that's what I'm thinking on Bitcoin here. If we continue lower here, 59.82, these bands are tight now. 59.82 is the lowermost collar on the weekly. We could get there in a bracket. but continued weakness as these bands on the daily especially start to expand. There's a lot of room to the downside to expose here. And so I do not want to buy this falling knife. And if I'm short, I am riding this as long as we can hold the momentum level. All right, Ethereum trading 194.03. These bands are so tight now, we've actually below the lower momentum collar on the daily. And we're right at that, just back into lower momentum on the weekly, 196.44. Lower momentum on the weekly, room down to 108.27 Ethereum. Now, there's another idea that if things start going bananas here and we start falling apart, you could throw some bids, I think, in Ethereum down at that 108, 109, 110 level and be a fantastic place to jump in on especially violent weakness. You need to find that outlier area that you want to, I don't mind picking a bottom there. That's a half price deal for Ethereum down at 110. So much different than Bitcoin at 59.82. I think the bands on the weekly and Bitcoin are just too tight to participate in. All right, XRP trading 43.95 week, right? Week. Again, the bands are so tight on the dailies that we're already into the collar on the daily, so we have to look out. You got to fractal out. 40.38 is the weekly average that we talked about last night. Through there, lower momentum on the weekly, 31.22. All right, Bitcoin Cash trading 419. 419, that lower momentum on the weekly. Bitcoin Cash was 454, so solidly in low mo on the weekly. Room down to 344.20, lower momentum collar in Bitcoin Cash. Now, although we moved lower here today, we didn't move lower violently. It's been a pretty orderly break. And for me, maybe that's because this is going to be a head fake. I'm not 100% sure here. I do know, and I'll say it again, that in congestion periods, sometimes that first move is the head fake. So I'm not counting these things out just yet, but I certainly do not want to get involved on weakness. I need to get involved on strength. And right now, none of that has shown itself. And strength might be coming back and closing back out of lower momentum on the dailies in these things. That's the first sign of strength that you're going to be looking for. All right, EOS trading 515. EOS 515. Look, already below the collars. So the pivots, you have to move out to the weekly here. 518's lower mo on the weekly. Room down to 460 in EOS. XLM trading 2198. 2198 in XLM. 2111 is lower momentum on the weekly. Room down to 1763, lower momentum collar. Litecoin 48.65, well into lower momentum on the weekly. That's 53.11. Room down to 45.30. Litecoin's been around long enough, I believe, to start talking monthlies. Hold on one second, because we're going to roll the month here. Yeah, and room down to negative, to Stu Gotts on the monthly. That monthly momentum level already in it in Litecoin, 59.06. And they're right here at this lower level that's low since they've made the highs, 47.19 and 49.33 the last 2 months. So Litecoin looking, they take out that 47.19 level, look out. I wouldn't be buying the 45 level, the collar. I'm not sure where you buy it. My best guess is that they could give it back all the way to the congestion when this stuff came out of the box and it exploded to, which is right around $7-8. I don't know why you want to catch this falling knife. That's all I have to say. All right, ADA trading 0704 in ADA, 0704. So again, you got to go to the out to the weekly in ADA. 0729 was lower momentum on the weekly, so below that level. 0462, lower momentum collar in ADA. XMR trading 102.05, 178's lower momentum on the weekly, and room down to 85.62. XMR's been around long enough also for some monthly activity. 105.71, was that lower momentum level on the monthly. And again, they got room down to negative. But, you know, the congestion where they all moved higher from $19, basically, $19 in Monero. So that's just what that's what the potentials here are. And when people start saying you're crazy, you can tell me I'm crazy all day long. I don't give a shit to tell me I'm crazy. What I'm telling you is I've done this long enough to know that I've seen more people cry on the side of a pit because they're bankrupt, because they didn't respect the potentials in the market. You know what? That's just the bottom line. All right, Dash, 152.41 in Dash, 152.41. Dash that weekly, 156 was lower momentum in the weekly, room down to 120.31. We're in lower momentum on the monthly in Dash, and that congestion that they moved higher from all the way down about $20 in Dash, $20. I mean, I don't want to see this happen, but I'm telling you what the potentials are. We just did those guys. So anyways, we got a couple more here. TRX that's on the sheet. I wanted to talk about the weekly, at least. TRX trading. Too many zeros to see 3.5. TRX. I mean, oh no, that's TRX Bitcoin. Sorry. Sorry. TRX 0222. TRX 0222. Lower momentum on the weekly, 0212. Room down to 0174. BNB trading 950. Lower momentum on the weekly, 958. Room down to 820. And REP, you broke my heart. Where is REP? Bear with me. You're really bearing with me. REP, 1434, 1263, lower momentum on the weekly, room down to 621. Now, I don't want to be an alarmist, but the volume has picked up considerably. I do think it was an orderly break today. The only thing I can say is you need to mind the mo. If we can get a pullback today and close back out of lower momentum in these things, maybe today's move was a head fake. And we're going to explode out of here, as I'll say it one more time. The last time I'll say it, sometimes when you congest, that first movement out of the congestion is a head fake. And then a lot of times it's not, all right? So it can be, but a lot of times it's not. And the reason, it's pretty easy to figure it out, right? So if it's going to be a prolonged break here, we should start respecting the lower momentum levels, and we shouldn't trade back above them and close above them on a daily basis. And if we do, maybe we get the explosion. But for my money right now, I'm not trying to grab this falling knife. I will for sure buy some Ethereum if it washes out to $110. But other than that, there's not a lot of great areas that I like, that I see to participate in. All right, listen, stay disciplined, trade disciplined. We'll be back tomorrow for another segment of Blockchain Vitals, and I will see you then. All right, listen, stay disciplined, trade disciplined.